Welcome everybody to East Whittier. We are inside the engine house, and welcome to a day on the Dubkir Valley Railway. My name is Kirk. I am the owner and founder of Dubkir Media, a company that does mostly rail videos, but we have some calendars and got some projects coming up in the pipeline that should be really fun. Should be enjoyable. So this is day 41 on the Dubkir Valley Railway. Um, I have about I'm just shy of 230 hours in this game. My map is completely modless. I have not done modding at all. Um, I actually just recently expanded the line to Silva. I think I've done 5 days running from Silva to East Whittier. So we're still fairly new into that. We're still gaining contracts in that particular direction. So we'll get going and see what we've got. So right now I've got 6 locomotives out on the line. We've got consolidation up at the coal mine. It's running on the daily coal trains. I've got two of the larger size moguls. I think they're the G25s. I've got one. They're kind of running the through trains right now, the Bryson to Dillsboro and stuff. Then we got the default locomotive to start. Number two is at Bryson right now. Number one is the 460 that, when you start the game, it's the one that you have to rescue and take into the shop. And I've still got it running on the passenger trains. And then I've got another mogul currently at Silva Interchange. Again, like I said, they're running back and forth between Interchange and Bryson. Going up the hill, I have 2/3 of the milestone to Alarka Junction. So I just need one more delivery to Alarka Junction, and then the branch will be active. And then I've got 1/3 of the Antahala Bridge, whatever they call it. What do they call it? The Fontana Lake Bridge. So I've got one of those three done. I could order. You know what? Why not? Worst that could happen. So that'll be tomorrow. We'll build. Tomorrow we'll send some cars up to Fontana Lake. Up at the coal mine here, I've got number 10. Take a look, shall we? So I currently have it running as the coal power. This is actually only my second day with the higher tier of the contract. I just raised it up from tier 2 to tier 3. So my coal trains were only about 7 to 9 cars, and now I've got them at about 14 cars, which is more fun. I mean, obviously, we like bigger power. We like bigger trains on here. That said, though, I don't know if 10 will be able to continue this run, so we're going to find out here in the next couple days if number 10 can be hauling, what is this, a 13, 14 car passenger train? So this is always my first process of the day, is to get the coal train going, because I can then just give it to the AI crew. And let the AI crew run it. I do have CTC installed on all of the railroad that is active. I personally find it a little on the easier side, because then I can just forget about trains and I can give them red signals, as opposed to having to try to put flares down and all of that jazz. But no, it's good stuff. We've got the coal run is probably my favorite of the batch, just because it looks cool. And it does make serious money, especially now that I've raised it up to another tier. And I know a lot of people who play this game play it in the flight mode or whatever it's called, but I find something fun about actually being on the ground. Okay, so this train's 11 cars. I find it fun just being on the ground. So we'll start off. I keep the train at 10 miles an hour on the branch because with the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit and taking this kind of tonnage down the hill, it just works. So we'll go into our dispatchers panel, and I've got a bunch of trains here. So this is the CRGSY coal train from Robinson Gap to Silva. That'll be there, and we'll get her lined. Let's start off by going to Ela, shall we? So there we go. Coal train's lined to Ela. And now I can basically forget about it, which is why I usually keep it as the first movement of the day. And as you can see, even with my 10-mile-an-hour orders, the train's going 13, 14 miles an hour. So that keeps it at the quote-unquote speed limit for the branch line, even though I've actually tested it. I've gone down through this stretch at 30 miles an hour and I didn't derail. We could if we wanted, but 12 miles an hour works for me. It also gives me a little bit more time to think. So, for example, on the main line, I keep my freight trains at 15, my passenger train at 20. But now, with that in mind, we go back to Whittier. I had gotten in a nice routine of making this run before the evenings were over. But then I think it was back-to-back days where the logs were not unloaded prior to the day coming to an end, so I had to let them finish loading overnight. So our second move of the day is to send the log train up the logs, and so while he's coming out, we're going to throw some switches. And this is the fifth locomotive. I didn't mention it at the beginning. I've got the 060 switcher for East Whittier, and its primary role is to make this run with the logs, and obviously work the sawmill stuff. I've got, you got five cars ready to be picked up. Both of these gondolas are in the process of being loaded, and I have not checked the town side of Whittier to see if anything else needs picked up, but and I do use the flight view if I need to go between a couple stations. Like if I'm at the Dillsboro yard, and I need to check something out at Silva. It's an easy way to do it. So neither of these need picked up. That doesn't need picked up, so we're good. At least yet, anyway. Perfect. All right, now that he's going that way, got the coal train on the move. I got the log train on the move. It is time to continue our way west. And the last thing I do every night before wrapping up is number one gets serviced. Number one's on the passenger train. We'll come up here and collect it. And I left the default whistles on numbers 1 and 2. It's just kind of my process for how the railroad got started and everything. So we're going to come pick up the steel passenger coach. A couple of them over here. I bring one car a night. After the train arrives in Silva, I bring a car a night over here and let it get worked on. So its condition's now at 100%. And if we go to the daily report, it's you can see the equipment condition a few days ago was all the way down to about 85%. So it's kind of worked. I'm a little surprised that with this default 460, the what is it, 3 tons of coal and the 3,400 gallons of water are actually enough to go from here all the way to Alarka Junction and return. I would not have guessed that. I'm not saying it's something I would want to continue, but I've been eyeing the what is it, the 442, I believe, for this run. I think that would be a good locomotive for the passenger run. And I've got the money for it, I'm just waiting. Real quick, we'll come here. 10 can now go faster, so we'll bump its speed up. Here's the 15. There we go. Full train is between Alarka and Hemingway, so that's good. And I want to move the hop Hillsboro to Silva. There we go. That's the number one that I'm currently running. That's going to get lined out. While I'm thinking of it, we're going to go back here and throw the switch. All right, and what I'll do now is I'll give this to a road crew. And again, we're going to use our flight mode to go over to Silva, where it's going to be put on the rear end of the passenger train, which is why I've got it on the front end of the locomotive. Normal. Normal. Now, we are set and ready to go work on our daily freight train. So over to 20 we go. We're going to select number 20, which is a mogul. Go. And now we are at Silva's interchange. And what I do at the end of every day, when I hit the sleep button, and it turns to 6 o'clock the next day, I actually come through everything prior to see what I need to do. So I already know that I've got a little bit of switching to do here. And my original thought when I built the Silva, or when I purchased the Silva interchange area, is that I would do all the switching at Dillsboro Yard itself. But I've found that it actually works out to switch over here. And what I do is I have my interchange settings set to mostly block. That requires me to do a little bit of switching, and I don't mind doing a little bit of switching. It's kind of fun. So for this one, what I'm going to do is my first pullout is going to be, I'm going to make the hook. I'm going to make the uncouple here with the L&N. Then those are going to be the cars that are coupled up to the caboose. And then I'll come back in and I'll grab these 6 cars, and then those will be next. I've got 2 newly purchased box cars coupled up to the locomotive and the caboose, which are backing up now. And those will be next, and then these Dillsboro cars are going to be last. So when we depart here, it'll be the Dillsboro cars, the newly purchased cars, the Bryson cars. No, I got that backwards. Bryson needs to be up front, then Dillsboro. And then all of these Robinson Gap coal cars are going to come on this close track that I'm standing on. And when the coal train gets here, it will park its loads on the track that is currently occupied. It'll run around, and it'll couple up to these empties, and it'll go. Coal train is the only one that does not have a caboose for right now for that reason. It just kind of expedites things, but I may get to it eventually. I've got three cabooses, one of each style. And I do actually have them painted in a different color red than the default. And all of my locomotive and car text lettering is in the same gold color. And the color that I have for my regular cars is, I was trying to figure out what color to do some stuff. You know, this was day 4 or 5, you know. I wasn't real liking how every car was the same color. All the box cars are boxcar red, and all the coal cars are black. So I thought, what can I do to change things up a little bit? And so the coal car that I had at the East Whittier coal track, I started messing around with it. And what I did was I kind of made it like a kind of like a grayish blue. I've got a coal car in this cut that's going to Bryson. So we'll see it here in a second after I make the hook. I'll go back and show you, but I made it kind of like a bluish gray color. And I really liked it. So what I did was I decided that all of my cars would be some form of blue, except for the default passenger coaches, which I left those at green. But if you noticed, the steel coach that I purchased, I made those a dark shade of blue. So I've got passenger coaches are a dark shade of blue. My box cars are this kind of royal shade of blue. Coal cars are like a bluish gray. And then what I did for my pulpwood cars, you'll see I've got pulpwood cars down in Bryson. I reversed them. So my pulpwood cars are the gold color that the lettering is, and their lettering is the same blue as these box cars. And I've been real pleased with it, so it stays. I'll show you here in a second this full car here, a couple cars back. Okay, so here's our kind of lightish blue-gray color. I was real pleased with it when I started, so that's the color that all three of my coal cars are. But it's a different shade of blue, though. Obviously, you can see that for the box car. All right, number 5, the log train is at loadout 1. We're gonna have to go grab it. I guess I'll just do that right now. I have 5 of these cars set to log 1 on the Connolly Creek branch. And the remaining 7 cars are set to log 2. Makes it real simple, easy enough to do with the locomotive. But I am also not in the experimental, so this is no updates. And I slammed to a stop there when I said it was 2 cars, but boat's your boat, I guess. Go. We're lined. You go back up the hill. And we can continue this. Also, let's take a look at where our coal train is. Our coal train is on the approach to Bryson. And I need to throw the switches Whittier now that the log train is. And I'm going to have number 1 in the picture trying to get that coal passenger car back onto the train. Then again, like I said, I like using the first person mode. I think it adds a little something when you're switching. I certainly understand, though, why people like the flight mode. So my goal is to have the passenger train departing Silva at 7:30. The time is currently 6:50, so it's not going to be a real long wait at Silva, but it's not going to be, quick. And that's where I know this timetable update. I guess you can set that. I haven't gotten to that point because, like I just said, I'm not in the experimental branch. And I do also have the settings for the sound turned up. I don't use headphones very often, so just the default sound through the speakers is really hard to hear, actually. Okay, we're gonna go look at this one now, just real quick, since it's finished. And 5 just stopped for its fusee, so we're gonna click. All right, now number 1 is set on the passenger train. Well, at least the passenger train can start loading now. And these coal cars here at Silva, I I got lazy when I dropped off the NC in St. Louis. I just didn't want to make the second move to pull the Boston and Maine out. So I got two of them sitting there. One of them is ready to go, has been ready to go for a few days. But, oh well. So now we got passengers loaded, 16, 14, that's 30, 45, 65. What was that, 83 passengers? 82 passengers. Maybe I didn't need the blue coach for now, but oh well. It looks cool. And so as you can see, I changed the lettering on these cars to make them gold also. Because when you purchase them, it's that same green color, but the text is white. But now it's about 30 minutes for this train to load. And so I'm guessing it'll probably be departing before I can depart with the freight train. It's just dependent. Some days I get the freight train out first. Some days I get the passenger train out first. And there are just enough station stops where if I get the freight out first, it does not interfere with the passenger train. I really like the using the V and then being able to drag the mouse up and down in order to blow your whistle. I think it adds another level of realism. Because that's kind of one of the things a lot of real engineers do is they try to add their own flair. I know a few people who run steam locomotives, and every single one of them does it differently, and they all say it's extremely fun. One of the reasons why I enjoy being able to go. All right, so the passenger train is ready to depart in 25 minutes. Hopefully I remember. If not, oh well. It'll be a little late. There we go. Back to switching. I really do like the blue color that I chose for the box cars. If I may toot my own horn. Yeah, so right now, I'm in northern Colorado, and right now it's, last time I checked the weather, it was 7 degrees out with a wind chill of -5, so I figure this was about as perfect a day as I could possibly find in order to just play some Railroader. as of right now, I don't see the need to get too many more locomotives. Like I said, I want to get that 442, probably either the 442 or the American 440 for the passenger run. Based on my research, though, I think I'd rather have the 442. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But and then I do want to get a second consolidation for the for backup, so that way when 10 has to come in for servicing and whatnot, there's another consolidation ready to roll. Or I could just alternate, leave base one of them in Dillsboro. And then when the coal train arrives into Dillsboro, it can stop and they just swap locomotives as opposed to having to service while the train sits on the main. These are the things I plan out while I'm doing this. So these first 3 cars are all for Bryson. Got 2 of them for Appalachian Hardwoods and then 1 for the coaling tower. Despite the fact that I have every single contract in Bryson, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic for Bryson. Which is, I know, why some people have started doing modding and stuff, adding industries, and I get it. That's also why I've considered doing the Alarka branch, but as soon as you open up your next section of line, though, you got to get passenger service to it. So it's a little bit of a, okay, what do I need to do this? How am I going to do this once it's open? And all that fun stuff. So but for now, I'm liking where I'm at for now. This current setup takes me about 10 to 11 game hours, about 5 hours in real life. I still have the time multiplier on, which to me is also, I completely understand why it's being eliminated, but I like the added realism. It seems like a standard 11-hour workday, that the game crew would be going through. And then I leave the fusees on these 2 interchange tracks because these are the 2 interchange tracks where the interchange traffic, the outbound traffic, will stop. So then also once the train departs Dillsboro, I can just set the signals and forget about it. So I leave the fusees in. It's also nice to get notified that they're stopped at a fusee as opposed to just having the switch against them where it doesn't actually tell you that the switch is against them. And I do believe I read that is going to be changed in the next update. Get a picture, shall we? Beautiful. I always find the Florida East Coast cars in this game random. Having Railfan the Florida East Coast, it's hard to find anything other than rock traffic with FEC reporting marks. I get it though. Fun to see. This is one of my other favorite parts is just being able to kick cars. I try not to kick cars unless there's something for them to hit, because I don't like setting the handbrakes. But so this is a solid situation in which I can use kicking as a method. At 6 miles an hour, it should have enough oomph to get to the cut, but it won't be hitting too hard. Now, that said, I know there's a bit of a grade here, so could be wrong about that. Okay, so 6 minutes for the passenger train to depart. It will likely be meeting the coal train at Thomas Valley. Then the one thing that I can't forget with this run is I do have a gondola over at the Dillsboro Yard. You may have seen it when I was moving the passenger coach, but I've got the it's for the, what is it, Mica and Schist Company over there at Wilmot, and I just simply forgot to drop it off yesterday. So I got to pick it up and got to remember to drop it off in this case. And what I can do after getting these cars pushed back is I can pull back forward. I can kick the coal cars onto this track I'm standing on, and I can kick my 2 new box cars into this train, pick up the Bryson cars, and then I am ready to roll. Meanwhile, I'm guessing the coal train is probably getting pretty close to Ela. We'll check that here after we get stopped. Line it further up the line. And I was right. We will line it further. Let's get it to Thomas Valley. which, by the way, should be departing. There it is. So I keep the passenger train at 15 until it gets through Dillsborough Yard, because the speed limit through Dillsborough Yard is 15, so I just leave it. Everything east of Dillsborough is 15 to me. Unless I'm running it. I allow myself to run faster. Perks being the boss. So this is my daily prep every quote unquote every day. Just got to get everything ready to go where it's supposed to go, and I didn't mean to have 3 of my cars, my company-owned cars, back to back to back, but it works. And again, a lot of this my original plan was to do a lot of this at the Dillsborough Yard, but the first time I tried it here, it just worked so well. And if the log train was in the time slot that I would like it to be in, I would as soon as this train departs, you just throw an AI crew on it, and then you start go switching Whittier. But with that train currently up on the branch, it's a little harder to do that. So, but that sawmill is what makes a lot of money. So, more than happy to do whatever it needs. So there we go. My 3 newest cars are all back to back to back on this train. All right, and so we are basically ready for the day. That's going to end part 1 of this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Go find us on Facebook and Instagram. In part 2, we'll get these trains going and on down the line. Then we'll see what comes next. We'll do some switching in Bryson. We'll watch the meet take place at Thomas Valley and at Barker's Creek, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching part 1, and we'll see you again in part 2.